What's up, everyone? So today's video should be very nice, simple, short, and sweet. All right, let's get right into it. First of all, the SPY is right at this uptrend level. All right, honestly, whatever happens now is purely going to be dependent on FOMC. So there wasn't a huge move heading into FOMC. There wasn't a huge drop heading into FOMC. So that makes it a bit more difficult to ascertain what the Fed wants to do. So I was saying that if there was a lot of strength heading into FOMC, then it would be less likely that the Fed would pivot. But since these guys basically just kept it flat, the odds are in the favor of us basically pumping off of FOMC essentially. So we most likely will. The fact that we're holding these levels of support, even if tomorrow we do, crack down intraday, whatever the case may be, the fact that we haven't shown this extreme amount of weakness does not. Basically, most likely we're going to get some sort of an intraday pump based off of the FOMC minutes, the federal funds rate at 2 o'clock, and then at 2:30 p.m. we have to also see whether or not we have to listen to Fed Powell's vernacular, how he's speaking, whether he's more dovish or whether he's more hawkish. But either way, odds are in the favor of us getting a bit of a bounce. So cool. We might get a bit of a bounce to 390 to 393, right? That's completely fine. What happens after that? Are we going to continue heading up to 400? Like what exactly is going to be the case? If the Fed does not pivot, right, then it's business as usual, right? But if the Fed does pivot, that's going to be super bullish, and things can basically explode to the upside. But if they don't pivot, then we're going to continue having a soft landing. So a soft landing, a continuation of a soft landing, will just purely be shorting strength, right? So if the Fed does not pivot and we skyrocket up, then in my opinion, regardless, it's going to be a time to scale into longer term puts. And yeah, for now, that is really my thesis. When you take a look at the bonds didn't really do much. We touched the 20 EMA and then bounced lower. The dollar is basically didn't really do much either. We're still sort of stagnating above over here. The MACD line looks like it's about to cross above. And usually when we do get across, we get another at least 2 days of follow through to the upside. And we know that if the dollar is doing well, then the stock market is falling, right? So we just have to see if that's going to be the case. But the bonds do a much better job at explaining and showing what is going to essentially happen. And intraday, also taking a look at Bitcoin. When you look at Bitcoin, if you take a look at Bitcoin's like smaller time frames, for example, the 5-minute time frame, heading into Asia session especially, a lot of the time, if we don't end up just capitulating down, Asia session has a good understanding of where the Fed may or may not be going. So we basically have to take a look at the Asia session on Bitcoin, but then also the initial first move for the Fed minutes, right? When that comes out, take a look at Bitcoin and then basically use that as a gauge to also trade equities. You could take a look at that as well intraday tomorrow. But basically, the weakness out of the NASDAQ is still prevalent. It's still added to the thesis that we didn't break above here. Large tech stocks were taking a beating today. Google was very weak today. Facebook was very weak today. Apple did not do well at all. It was one of the biggest losers. So there's that. The IWM was also very overextended, and then we basically fell a bit to where we were yesterday. But again, all of this really predicates on FOMC tomorrow. There's a lot that we just don't know yet. All right, so instead of dragging this video out, there's nothing really else to look at. And overall, it either way, it looks like intraday we should see some sort of a bounce after FOMC minutes. But at 2 p.m. So here's the thing. At 2 p.m., we could be very, very bullish. Things can be skyrocketing to the upside. And then once Jerome Powell has his meeting and he starts speaking, that's when things can basically, he can just change his narrative and he could start sounding completely different. So either he could bring the market down from where it was going, or he could shoot it up even more. So you basically have to take those as two separate sort of data points. All right. But aside from that, I hope you guys had an amazing day. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.